There comes a point in every soul's journey when you realize that your worry has never moved a single mountain, but your faith always has. That all your striving, your struggling, your planning, and your panic have not created peace-only noise. And in that moment of exhaustion, when the mind has no more energy to control, something sacred begins to whisper, "Be still, stop worrying, start trusting, for I am God." That voice is not distant. It is not coming from the clouds. It is the quiet certainty rising from within you, the divine part of your being that has never been afraid. For fear belongs to the outer self, the temporary identity that believes it must carry life on its own shoulders. But trust belongs to the eternal self, the one made in the image of God, who knows that nothing is missing, nothing is broken, and nothing can be lost that belongs to divine order. Worry is born when you forget who walks with you. Trust begins the moment you remember, because when you truly remember, when you stop fighting and simply know that God is already working, you step into the current of divine flow. And in that flow, miracles are not rare, they are inevitable. Faith is not blind, it is precise. It is the alignment between your consciousness and divine intelligence. Scripture says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Substance, evidence. Faith is not hope, it is proof in motion. It is the inner certainty that creates outer form. Even science shows what Scripture has long revealed, that life reflects the harmony within your heart. Your nervous system, your heart, your brain, all emit measurable electromagnetic signals. When those signals are coherent, when your thoughts and feelings agree, matter begins to organize itself around that harmony. You call it manifestation. Heaven calls it divine law. So when you worry, you are sending the signal of separation. You are affirming lack. You are broadcasting fear. And reality, being perfectly obedient, mirrors it back to you. But when you trust, when you say, "I don't know how, but I know God will," your body softens, your heart opens, your vibration rises, and creation rearranges itself in perfect response. You step into the field of miracles, not by effort, but by alignment. This is the science of surrender, that what you let go of in fear, God can finally take over in love. Worry is the mind's attempt to control what only grace can guide. It is trying to solve tomorrow with the tools of yesterday. And that is why it exhausts you, because you are using imagination against itself. Imagination was given to you to create, not to catastrophize. Every time you replay what could go wrong, you are misusing your divine gift. You are forming pictures of disaster instead of destiny. But you can change that in an instant, because the same imagination that creates fear can also create faith. You can choose to see it differently, to see the same situation as already redeemed, already provided for, already resolved in perfect peace. The moment you do that, the moment you imagine with trust, you turn the key in the lock of heaven, and what was delayed begins to unfold. God never asked you to understand his plan. He only asked you to trust it. And when you stop interrupting the process with worry, you allow the law of divine order to move freely through your life. Stop trying to force the timing. Stop rehearsing the problem. Think of the farmer who does not dig up his seed to check if it's growing. He trusts the process, knowing the unseen is working. Faith works the same way. Stop speaking as though lack were real. Instead, say quietly within yourself, "God is handling this. I rest in his wisdom." How? Because that rest is the proof of faith. And faith, not force, moves the mountain. To surrender is not to give up. It is to give over. It is to place your limited perception into the hands of limitless intelligence. It is to say, "Father, I trust you more than I trust my fear." Worry says, "What if I fail?" Faith says, "Even if I fall, God will lift me higher." Worry looks at lack. Faith looks at abundance unseen. Worry tries to calculate outcomes. Faith rests in divine sequence. This is why Jesus said, "Do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will wear, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him." To worry is to doubt his nature. To trust is to align with his promise. And once you align with that promise, life begins to show evidence. Doors open that logic would call impossible. Opportunities appear without explanation. Even obstacles begin to serve you. Because divine intelligence does not waste a single detail, it weaves every circumstance into your unfolding. Look carefully at the conversation you hold within yourself, for it is there in the unseen dialogue that your reality is being programmed. If your inner speech is full of fear, your outer world will echo that fear. But if your inner speech is full of faith, your outer world will harmonize with that faith. Neville Goddard taught that every inner word is creative. Every assumption is a seed. And the subconscious, which never sleeps, brings forth whatever seed you nurture. So when you find your mind wandering toward anxiety, stop it gently and redirect it. What if everything goes right? What if this delay is divine timing? What if this pain is preparation for something better? You are not lying to yourself. You are aligning yourself. You are choosing the vision God already holds for you. The vision of wholeness, success, healing, peace. Every time you assume that feeling of it is done, you are stepping into the answer before it appears. Remember, Jesus did not thank God after the miracle. He thanked him before the bread multiplied, before the storm stilled, before the dead awoke. Gratitude is not the reaction to blessing. It is the activation of blessing. It is the language of completion. When you stop worrying, your energy returns to stillness, and in that stillness, the divine can move. Worry blocks the flow. Peace opens it. Think of your life as a river. When you push against it, you create turbulence. When you flow with it, you reach the ocean. Trust is that flow. It is not laziness. It is divine intelligence in motion. When you release the burden of control, you allow God to fulfill what your effort never could. For his ways are not your ways. They are higher, exact, perfect. And every time you try to do it alone, you delay the miracle that was already arranged. So stop interfering. Stop narrating your fears. Stop predicting disappointment. Let the miracle breathe. God is not waiting for your struggle. He is waiting for your stillness. Be still and know that I am God. Not do more, but be still. Stillness is not weakness. It is command. It is the moment consciousness unites with divine order and creation responds accordingly. Faith does not make you passive. It gives you authority. You move from reaction to creation, from panic to presence. Because now you act from peace, not for it. You stop chasing outcomes. You start commanding them with calm conviction. You begin to speak as Jesus spoke with authority, born of oneness. He did not plead with the storm. He instructed it. Peace, be still. End of faith. He did not beg for provision. He declared, thank you, Father, for hearing me. That same authority lives within you now, waiting for your remembrance. When you stop worrying, you rise into that authority. Your words gain weight because they are rooted in faith, not fear. And the world, being consciousness in motion, obeys the vibration of certainty. You are the image of the Creator. To create as he does, you must think as he thinks in finished form. God never says, I hope. He says, I am. So speak the language of I am. I am at peace. I am guided. I am provided for. I am the living expression of divine order. Each declaration imprints upon creation. Each I am aligns you with the I am that spoke the universe into being. Once you begin living this way, once you choose trust over worry, you will witness a quiet miracle unfold. Your outer world begins to match your inner calm. What once required struggle begins to flow. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Because the universe no longer resists you. It reflects you. You will see how everything that frightened you was never real power, only misperception. Fear dissolves, not because circumstances change, but because you change. The light of faith dispels the shadows of uncertainty. You stop trying to survive life and start creating it deliberately in partnership with the divine. And that partnership is eternal. You will never again need to ask, will God help me? For you will know that he already is. You will not beg for signs. You will see them everywhere. The right person at the right time. The right word when you need it most. the peace that comes without explanation. This is the evidence of divine order life orchestrated by unseen intelligence. It was always there, waiting for your surrender. Beloved soul, God is telling you today to stop worrying, not because He ignores your struggle, but because He has already solved it. You cannot see it yet because the outer has not caught up with the inner. But in spirit, it is already done. You are standing in the hallway between prayer and proof. Do not let fear turn you back before the door opens. This moment, this very breath, is the turning point. Release the weight you were never meant to carry. Hand over every problem, every fear, every unanswered question. Whisper it now in your heart. Father, I give it to you. I trust you completely. And then let it go. Do not take it back with your thoughts. Do not water the weeds of doubt. Every time fear arises, answer with faith. I have already given this to God. That single sentence carries power beyond measure because the universe responds to conviction, not repetition. When you mean it, heaven moves. The truth is simple, and it will never change. You are not alone. You never have been. The same power that set the stars in their places watches over every detail of your life. Nothing is too small for His attention, and nothing is too great for His authority. You are safe. You are guided. You are loved. And all things are working together for your good, not by chance, but by divine design. So rest, not in defeat, but in faith. Let your stillness be your statement of trust. Let your peace be your prayer. And watch as the impossible begins to unfold before your very eyes. For the command of heaven has never changed. Be still and know that I am God, not was, not will be, but am, and that I am lives in you now. It breathes your breath, thinks your thoughts, beats your heart. You are not separate from it. You are its expression. Therefore, when you trust, you are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you to remember. The storm may roar, but you are the calm within it. The night may fall, but you are the light that outlasts it. Because faith is not what you believe, it is what you are when you remember who walks beside you. So stop worrying, start trusting, and know with the quiet certainty that moves mountains, God will solve all your problems. He already has. And as you rest in that knowing, creation moves, the doors open, the answers arrive, and the world reflects your peace. For the law is perfect, the promise is fulfilled, and the word has already gone forth from His mouth. It shall not return to me void. It is done. It is finished. And it is good. And now, beloved soul, breathe. Let this breath be wholly a bridge between heaven and earth, between the seen and the unseen. Let it remind you that the same presence that shaped galaxies moves silently through your lungs right now. Every inhale carries creation. Every exhale releases control. You do not need to struggle anymore. You do not need to carry the weight of outcomes or the burden of how. The plan is already written. The provision already exists. The path is already forming beneath your feet. All you are asked to do is trust. Trust so deeply that fear loses its language. Trust so fully that silence becomes enough. Trust so absolutely that your stillness itself becomes the loudest prayer. For worry is noise, but faith is music. And when your heart begins to sing that quiet melody of faith, all creation harmonizes with it. Doors open in the most unexpected places. The people meant to find you do. The opportunities that once hid from you now call your name, because trust is a magnet for miracles. You will begin to see it everywhere. In the timing you could not plan, in the peace you cannot explain, in the way things work out not despite you but through you. And you will know God has been here all along. Every delay was instruction. Every challenge was training. Every unanswered prayer was protection. He never left. You simply had to slow down enough to feel Him moving beneath the noise. The human mind wants a map. The spirit only needs a compass. That compass is faith. And faith will always point you home. So, stop asking for signs and start living as the sign. Stop doubting if He hears you and start realizing you have never spoken outside His presence. Every thought is prayer. Every feeling is creation. Every act of trust rewrites the fabric of your reality. This is the hidden wisdom behind the words, according to your faith, be it unto you. Faith is not hoping that God will, it is knowing that God has. It is not waiting for proof, it is living from completion. And when you live from completion, you discover that heaven is not a reward, it is awareness. It is the recognition of divine order in every breath, every heartbeat, every now. Look around you. Even now, the ordinary glows with the extraordinary. The same intelligence that turns night into dawn turns your uncertainty into clarity. The same power that keeps stars suspended keeps your purpose aligned. The same love that breathes through creation breathes through you. You were never meant to do this alone. You were meant to walk in partnership with the infinite, to speak and watch creation respond, to imagine and watch form appear, to trust and watch life rearrange itself in perfect precision. When you finally realize this, the burden of control melts from your shoulders. You no longer chase answers, they rise to meet you. You no longer demand miracles, you live among them. Because the miracle was never outside you, it was the awareness within you. You are the proof of divine order made visible. You are the living echo of let there be light. You are the continuation of God's dream of creation. So walk on now, quietly, peacefully, without hurry. Walk through this day as though everything you have prayed for is already fulfilled, because in truth it is. It exists now in the unseen, waiting for your peace to call it forth. The more you rest, the faster it arrives. The more you trust, the clearer the path becomes. Let the words of Christ live in you, not as memory, but as reality. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. And if that belief is not religion, it is alignment. It is consciousness remembering its source. And as you remember, the separation between you and heaven disappears. You realize you were never waiting for God to act. God was waiting for you to allow. This is the quiet revelation of faith, that life does not respond to effort. It responds to awareness. That miracles do not come to the anxious, they come to the surrendered. That trust is not weakness, it is the highest intelligence in the universe. When you finally understand this, something profound occurs. Peace stops being an emotion and becomes your identity. You do not visit peace, you are peace. You do not wait for love, you are love. You do not seek miracles, you are the atmosphere through which miracles occur. And when you live from that awareness, nothing can shake you. The storms may come, but you stand still in the calm of divine order. The winds may blow, but your roots are deep in eternity. For you know not think, not hope, but know that God is in control. Every moment, every detail, every breath is orchestrated by perfect intelligence. Even the detours are direction. Even the endings are beginnings. Even what feels like loss is God making room for something greater. So rest now. You have done enough. Let your heart return to the stillness from which creation flows. Close your eyes and feel His presence surrounding you, breathing through you, completing what you once tried to complete alone. Let the divine whisper fill you. I've got this. You are safe. You are loved. You are mine. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fix. There is only trust, pure, radiant, effortless trust. And as you walk in that trust, the impossible becomes ordinary. The unseen becomes seen. The prayers become praise. And you, beloved, become the living testimony of what happens when a soul stops worrying and starts trusting. Because this is the truth, eternal and unbreakable. God will solve all your problems, not by struggle, but by alignment, not by striving, but by surrender, not by chance, but by law. So be still, let your heart return to peace, and know, truly know, that the one who holds the universe together holds you too. You are safe, you are seen, you are guided, and you are free. Now rest in that. Let the silence speak for you. Let the peace move before you. Let the faith within you finish what fear began. For in the language of eternity, there are only 3 words that matter. 3 words that end all struggle, all doubt, all delay. It is done. And it is forever. And when you awaken tomorrow, carry this stillness with you. Let it walk before your words. Let it color your thoughts. You do not need to repeat 1,000 affirmations to make the power work. One quiet moment of genuine faith is enough to set creation in motion. Trust does not demand, it allows. It does not beg, it believes. The law of life answers to conviction, not volume. When you open your eyes and step into a new day, see it as an unwritten page. Do not drag yesterday's stories into it. Let it be clean, unburdened, free. Say within yourself, "This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." Not because everything appears perfect, but because everything is perfect in process. Walk slowly through the morning. Feel the air against your skin and recognize it as the breath of God moving through form. Each sound, each light, each face you pass is part of the same divine expression. If tension rises, pause. Remember what you now know. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Only love is here. You will begin to notice subtle signs that your inner work is real. The problems that once provoked anxiety will now invite peace. Situations that once drained you will now strengthen you. Because when you are aligned with divine trust, even the ordinary becomes a channel for grace. Emails, traffic, meetings, bills, they all move differently when your inner world is still. This is how you live the teaching. You turn faith into a rhythm. You bring the unseen into the seen by remaining faithful to the state of completion. Every moment becomes a rehearsal of your miracle. You imagine not as escape, but as declaration. This is who I am in God. And the universe rearranges itself to agree with that declaration. In the quiet hours of your day, practice listening. You will begin to hear that small, familiar voice again, the one that never condemns, never rushes, never argues. It simply says, "Follow me." It will guide you to rest when you would normally push, to speak when silence would be fear, to forgive when resentment would feel easier. It will never lead you to chaos, only to order. If you obey that gentle guidance, life becomes an effortless unfolding. You start to realize that obedience to divine intuition is the highest form of intelligence. Because God never asked you to give up something real. He asked you to give up illusion. Every time you trust, a false limitation dies. Every time you surrender, a new possibility is born. When the sun begins to set again, do not measure the day by what you did. Measure it by how deeply you remembered. Were you aware of His presence? Did you keep peace even when nothing made sense? Then you have succeeded, for faith has been made flesh in you. Sit quietly for a few moments before sleep. Let the mind drift back to gratitude. Thank God for the unseen work happening in silence. Thank Him for the answered prayers that are still invisible. Thank Him for teaching you to rest in the mystery. Gratitude is your final word to the universe each night. It seals the seed you have planted through trust. And as you fall asleep, feel that invisible hand still guiding, still holding, still working all things together for your good. Tomorrow will unfold exactly as it should. And if uncertainty appears again, you will know what to do. Return to stillness, return to trust. Because once you have tasted peace born of faith, nothing else will satisfy you. You will no longer be content to live from fear, because you have seen what life becomes when faith leads. You have witnessed how mountains move when you stop pushing and start believing. You have felt the love that arrives when you no longer resist the present moment. This is not an ending. It is a beginning. It is the quiet rebirth of a soul who finally understands that God was never outside the equation, never late, never absent. He was always here, waiting for your awareness to match His presence. So when the world asks how you changed, when they see the calm in your eyes, the ease in your steps, you will simply smile and say, "I stopped worrying. I started trusting, and God did the rest." And you will mean it, because you will be living proof. Every breath, every heartbeat, every new dawn will testify that trust is the real miracle. You will walk through this life unhurried, unwavering, and unafraid. A living prayer, a moving light, a quiet revelation of divine order made visible. And in that eternal rhythm of trust, the voice of God will keep whispering within you, steady, sure, and endlessly kind. I am with you always. Do not be afraid. Only believe, and you will. You already do, because faith has replaced fear, peace has replaced striving, and love has replaced doubt. Now rest, knowing that the law of divine order never sleeps, and the miracle you once hoped for is already alive within you. It is done, and when the next dawn arrives, let it meet a different you. Not the one who wakes to chase control, but the one who opens their eyes and remembers that everything unfolding is already loved into being. Let the sunlight be your reminder. The sun does not strain to rise. It simply answers its nature. It shines because it was created to shine. You too were created to radiate light, not to earn peace, but to express it, not to demand blessing, but to reveal it. Each day will offer you new opportunities to remember. Moments will come that try to pull you back into fear, a bill, a message, a delay, a voice of doubt, whispering that you've been forgotten. But now you will not fall. You will pause, breathe, and let your awareness return to truth. God is here. God is moving. God is enough. Because you have learned what few ever learn. Faith is not an emotion, it is an identity. It is not what you feel, it is who you are when you remember your origin. You came from peace, and to peace you will return. You came from love, and love is what you are made to give. So when fear knocks, you will open the door and meet it with light. When uncertainty calls, you will answer with assurance. When others worry, you will be still, for your stillness will become your ministry. People will sense it in you before they understand it with words. They will feel safe near you, not because you promise them solutions, but because your presence is proof of them. This is the quiet power of a life lived in trust. It does not preach, it demonstrates. It does not argue, it radiates. You become, without effort, a mirror of divine order, a living message to the world that says, peace is not something you find, it is something you remember. And in remembering, you will see God everywhere. In the pattern of leaves, in the rhythm of footsteps, in the sound of laughter, in the faces of those who once seemed far from grace. You will see that all of it, every fragment of life, is God exploring his own reflection. There will be moments of silence so deep, you will feel eternity itself breathing beside you. You will begin to know what it means when Scripture says, in him we live and move and have our being. It will no longer be poetry, it will be perception. You will see that nothing stands outside that presence, not the pain you once feared, not the future you once doubted, not the prayers you once thought unanswered. All of it is being woven into the tapestry of your becoming. And one day you will look back and realize that every unanswered question found its answer, every broken piece found its place, and every detour led you to divine direction. You will smile with quiet understanding because you will see that God was not fixing your life. He was revealing himself through it. This is the mystery of grace, that what you once called waiting was preparation, that what you once called loss was expansion, that what you once feared as ending was only God making space for greater good. So as you continue on this path of trust, you will stop measuring your life by outcomes and start measuring it by awareness. Not, did I get what I prayed for? But, did I stay in peace while I waited? Not, did the world change? But, did I remember who I am in God? And when you live that way, you are no longer praying for miracles. You are living as one. Every heartbeat becomes prayer in motion. Every glance becomes blessing. Every word you speak carries weight because it comes from stillness. You will begin to notice that even your presence changes the atmosphere. Rooms feel lighter when you enter. Conversations soften when you speak. Not because you are doing something, but because you are being something. You are being the peace that the world is starving for. And when you feel that peace rise within you, I remember it is not yours alone. It is God reminding himself of his own nature through you. You are the bridge between heaven and earth, the channel through which love translates itself into form. There will be days when old habits return, when doubt whispers, when impatience knocks. Do not condemn yourself. Simply return to trust. Every return strengthens the connection. Every return deepens the peace. Every return refines your awareness that God was never gone. And eventually, trust will not feel like something you practice. It will feel like breathing, effortless, constant, natural. You will walk through storms and remain dry within. You will face uncertainty and remain certain within. You will encounter noise and remain still within. Because you have entered the inner kingdom, the consciousness of divine control. And this is where you will live, not as a visitor, but as a citizen. This is the reality that Christ carried within him when he said, "My peace I give unto you." That peace is not an offer. It is an inheritance. It is the atmosphere of your true nature. So live in it, speak from it, move with it. And when the world trembles, stand firm in it. You are not here to escape life. You are here to redeem it. You are not here to wait for heaven. You are here to reveal it. You are not here to plead for blessings. You are here to demonstrate what it means to be one with the source of all blessing. And as you live this truth, you will see that every problem was never a punishment. It was a portal, a doorway that led you deeper into awareness of the one who solves all things. Every worry was a teacher leading you back to faith. Every fear was an invitation to remember your strength. Every moment of surrender was a resurrection. And now you have risen quietly, completely, eternally. Walk in that light. Rest in that love. Trust in that peace. And if ever you forget again, if the noise of the world grows loud and fear tries to reclaim you, close your eyes and listen for the truth that has guided you through it all. The same truth that spoke creation into being and still echoes through every heart willing to hear. Do not be afraid. Only believe. I am with you always. Then breathe and whisper back, "I trust you, Lord, it is done." And so it is. And so it shall be forever. And now let the silence after these words become your sanctuary. The mind has spoken enough. The heart understands. You have nothing left to prove, nothing left to earn, nothing left to fear. The work of God is perfect, and you are part of that perfection. Every cell, every thought, every breath is held in divine rhythm. Even now, while you listen, unseen forces are moving on your behalf, aligning, arranging, redeeming. Do not try to imagine how. Just rest. Let your stillness be your faith in action. Let the quiet inside you say, "I believe." When you rise again, do so slowly, with awareness. Carry this peace into your steps, into your words, into your smallest choices. Walk through the world as one who knows they are never alone. Every person you meet, every task before you, is another way for God to show himself through you. Keep your heart open. Keep your mind calm. And remember, whatever happens next is not happening to you, it is happening for you, for your remembering, for your growth, for your good. If doubt ever returns, come back to this simple truth. You are safe in the hands that form the stars. You are guided by wisdom older than time. You are loved without condition or measure. So let the words settle deep. Stop worrying. Start trusting. For the same power that raised the sun this morning will raise you again and again until every part of your life shines with its light. The story of fear is finished. The story of faith has begun. And as the final whisper of this prayer dissolves into stillness, may you feel the presence within you. Speak once more, the voice that needs no language, the assurance that has no opposite. It is done, and it is forever. You did not find this message by mistake. You did not scroll, click, or stumble upon this word as an accident of curiosity or coincidence. You were summoned. You were called by something in you that is older than memory and deeper than thought. And now something in your chest begins to respond, not to the sound of my voice, but to the recognition of your own Because when God is ready to deliver what he has concealed in you, he does not shout. He does not shake the heavens. He whispers, and that whisper feels like a video you didn't mean to watch until it begins to speak your name. You are not watching this to be motivated. You are not here for inspiration or novelty or entertainment. You are here because you've reached the end of something, the end of doubt, the end of questioning, the end of shrinking your vision to fit what hasn't arrived yet. You are here because you know, in the marrow of your being, that something is coming. You can't prove it, you can't explain it, but it's moving, it's rising, it's pressing against the inside of your being, and you have sensed it. The delay, the silence, the space that felt like nothing was happening. It was not absence, it was setup. You may not have seen it clearly, but your soul did. That dream you held on to in secret. That version of yourself you visit only in your imagination before sleep. That desire that never died, even after disappointment buried it 100 times. That is the seed God planted in you, and now the soil has cracked. The roots have drunk deeply, and the hour has arrived for it to be born. This is not metaphor, this is not poetry, this is prophecy. God is about to give you something big, but not from above you, not outside you, from within, from the place where I am meets assumption, where your word becomes law, where your state becomes substance. And you will not need to strive for it. You will not need to chase it. You will become it. And because you become it, it must find you. So listen not with your ears, but with your inner ear. Let this message not touch your logic, but pierce your awareness. Let it baptize you in remembrance that you are not here to beg. You are not here to prove. You are not here to earn what has already been spoken. You are here to receive. And that receiving begins now, not because I said so, but because you know so. You have walked with a promise burning silently in your heart for years. Some days it pulsed like a fire that kept you warm through cold circumstances, and other days it ached like a wound, a reminder that you had seen something others hadn't, felt something no one around you could understand, and yet your outer world refused to change. You assumed, you believed, you dared to feel the wish fulfilled, and still, the phone never rang, the door never opened, the mountain never moved, and in that silence, in that space where heaven seemed mute, a new voice crept in, doubt. You began to ask questions you once swore you'd never entertain. Did I make this up? Is this just fantasy? Maybe I'm not chosen. Maybe I misunderstood the law. You looked at others, those who did less but seemed to have more, and compared timelines, forgetting that your promise was tailored, sacred, eternal. You let the world seduce you into believing its metrics, that evidence is truth, that delay is denial, that silence means absence. But I tell you now, that is the greatest lie ever told. The waiting did not mean you were abandoned. The silence did not mean you were forgotten. The stagnation did not mean you were wrong. It meant only this: the self required to receive what you asked for had not yet been born. The version of you who imagined it was not the version who could hold it. And so the law, being perfect, being divine, being just, did not rush to deliver something that would crush you. It waited, it watched, it worked in the unseen, shaping you, pruning you, emptying you of all that could not coexist with the weight of the promise you carried. And oh, how that pruning hurt, how it stripped the layers you once called identity, how it dismantled dreams you thought were steps but were really detours, how it made you feel invisible in a world of noise, silent in a world of shouting. But hear me, the ache you feel is not the ache of failure, it is the ache of expansion. It is the tension of a soul that stretched itself into a shape the world has never seen before. You feel stuck not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. You feel lost not because you're off the path, but because the old path has vanished, and the new one is forming beneath your feet as you walk. You are not late, you are not behind, you are not broken, you are in labor. This is what they never told you, that waiting is sacred, that waiting is alchemy, that the space between assumption and manifestation is the very womb of God. And in that womb, something more than your desire is being formed. You are. You are being shaped into the one who no longer asks, when will it happen, but declares, it is happening through me. You are being emptied of the need for signs,
so that you may become the sign yourself. You are being refined by absence, so that your presence carries weight. So don't curse the ache, don't numb the waiting, don't bury the longing. Let it burn, let it carve, let it pull the false self out by its roots, because on the other side of this ache is the becoming that no man can take from you. The gift is not only what's coming, the gift is who you are becoming to hold it. There is a part of you, subtle, familiar, and often disguised as logic, that quietly whispers, "It's not happening." This part doesn't scream. It does not fight you openly. It slides into the cracks during long delays, during missed calls, during empty mornings when nothing changes. It wears the face of reason. It pretends to be protecting you from disappointment. It tells you to be realistic, to temper expectations, to not get your hopes up too high. And yet, every time you obey that voice, you fracture. You split away from your deeper knowing. You dim your own power in the name of self-preservation. This voice is not your enemy. It is your old identity, the one built from years of living by sight instead of by assumption. It is the self that was trained by facts and conditioned by time. It's the voice of the inner orphan, abandoned by outcomes too many times, who now hides from his own desire because it's safer not to believe. And yet, he still wants, he still hopes, but his hope is twisted, defensive, afraid to be pierced again by the knife of unfulfillment. This identity is at war with the word you received in your imagination. You feel it when you assume a new state, that internal pullback, the quiet recoil. You declare, "I am wealthy," and immediately it whispers, "But what about the bills?" You decree, "I am loved," and it answers, "But you're still alone." This is not logic. It is the reflex of the fractured man, the one who has forgotten that imagination is not suggestion, it is creation. And as long as that fractured self is allowed to reign, as long as you allow him to be the dominant vibration, no assumption will hold. Because assumption is not just a thought, it is a state of being, a full possession of identity. And you cannot enter the state of the fulfilled man while secretly carrying the vibration of the disappointed boy. This is the moment of decision. Will you continue to worship the evidence of the old self? Will you continue to honor the memory of your past more than the authority of your imagination? Or will you burn the bridge? Will you declare, "I am no longer the man who waits, I am the man who has"? Will you leave behind the version of you that needed to be convinced and step into the version who commands? You are not being punished. You are being split between the self you've known and the self that is rising. And the pain you feel is not failure. It is the tearing away of the mask. It is the fracture healing in reverse. It is your soul remembering what it always was before the world taught you to forget. You must choose, not with words, but with being. You must become deaf to the inner orphan and loyal to the inner king. You must take your throne and stay there, even when the world pretends not to recognize you, because the world only mirrors what you assume. And if you assume you are still becoming, you will never be. But if you assume you already are, the world will submit. There is a rhythm behind all things, a sacred timing that is never late and never early, only perfectly attuned to the emergence of your awareness. You may have cried into your pillow and thought the silence was abandonment. You may have assumed delay meant dismissal. But I tell you now with divine certainty, you were never forgotten, not for a second, not in the darkest hour of your waiting, not in the most invisible moment of your faith. The I am in you has never lost track of the promise you dared to assume. The world may have turned its back on you. Friends may have stopped asking. The results may have dried up. But the law of consciousness never looked away. While you felt forgotten, your pattern was being perfected. While you questioned, the bridge was being built, not from wood or stone, but from states. Every unseen shift in your inner man laid another beam across the gap. And the one who has already become is the one who finds that the bridge was always there. God does not forget what God declares. And because your imagination is God in action, the moment you assumed your wish fulfilled, it was done, finished. The world had no choice but to begin bending, recalibrating, drawing in resources and people and moments to match the tone you dared to emit. But what the world cannot deliver before you are ready to receive, it must hold back until your identity stabilizes. This is mercy, not punishment. For what good is the promise if the one receiving it is still identifying with the absence? What use is the throne if the king still thinks like a slave? So the delay, the waiting, the ache, it was not neglect. It was grace. Divine grace shaping you, maturing you, clearing from your vibration all that would sabotage the gift the moment it arrived. You were not being tested. You were being trusted. Trusted with the weight of an inheritance so vast it could not be given to a fractured frequency. Trusted with a vision so sacred it had to be guarded in the secret place until your tone matched its truth. You didn't need to work for it. You only needed to become it. And now you know. Now you can see that what you called stillness was strategy. That what you labeled nothing is happening was everything happening. Behind the veil, beneath the senses, within the inner man. The outer world moves slow because the invisible world moves deep. And now, something in you has caught up. The alignment is near. The tone has stabilized. And the law has one response to a fulfilled assumption. It must outpicture it. So rest in this revelation. God never forgot you. Your assumption never lost its grip. The vibration never left. It only went ahead, preparing the place, carving the path, planting the people. And now all that's left is you. To stop looking, to stop needing, to stop checking, and simply receive what has always been yours. Everything you have ever received, and everything you have not, has come from the same source. Not from effort, not from people, not from fate or fortune, but from the assumption you carried about yourself in secret. And if that sounds too simple, it is only because the world has trained you to complicate truth, to outsource power, to live at the mercy of appearances. But I tell you, as I have always told you, imagination creates reality. There is no outer cause, there is no other power. Your I am is the root, your state is the signal, your assumption is the law. This is the forgotten inheritance, that God is not watching you, God is within you, God is not deciding what to give, God is becoming what you assume. And when you assumed lack, lack appeared. When you assumed delay, delay unfolded, not because you were wrong, but because you were right, because the law does not judge, it only manifests. It is impersonal, perfect, and immediate, but only to the tone it receives. You must reawaken this law not as theory, but as truth so embodied, it cannot be forgotten again. You are not here to repeat mantras. You are not here to play spiritual games. You are here to take your place as the operant power. The world bends to your inner conviction, not sometimes, not eventually, but always, always. And if your outer world does not yet reflect your desire, it is not because the law failed. It is because you are still assuming from a place that contradicts your claim. You cannot serve two assumptions. You cannot declare, I am rich, while secretly vibrating with guilt. You cannot assume love while imagining rejection. You cannot decree dominion and then live like a beggar in your thoughts. The law listens only to the dominant state, not your wishes, not your words, not your emotional peaks, but your sustained inner self-concept. And that means freedom. Because the moment you shift your state, the moment you dare to assume your desire as already true, the world must mirror it. Not in time, not in days or weeks, but in consciousness now. And the physical is slow to obey. Yes, but it must obey. This is the moment where the game ends, where you stop asking how, where you stop looking out there. This is where you reclaim what was always yours, the cause, the root, the law itself. You are not a victim of your past. You are not a slave to the visible. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are the cause. And if you will believe this, not casually, not occasionally, but as the very breath you breathe, then everything you assumed in fear will unravel, and everything you assume in faith will rush to meet you. You asked, and it did not come. You imagined, and it did not appear. You believed, and yet still you waited. And somewhere in that silence, you began to wonder, what did I do wrong? But I tell you now, nothing. You did not fail the law. You did not ruin your manifestation. You were simply not yet equal to the thing you asked for. The delay was not denial. The delay was design. The law never withholds. It is not testing you, teasing you, or punishing you. It is waiting for your identity to match your desire, for your inner state to become too stable to sabotage the blessing. This is the hidden mercy. Had you received the thing too early, it would have destroyed you. The love you begged for would have exposed your insecurity. The wealth you assumed would have amplified your unworthiness. The platform you envisioned would have magnified your instability. And so the law, in infinite precision, withheld not from cruelty, but from calibration. You cannot become what you will not contain, and you cannot contain what you do not embody. So the time between your assumption and its appearance is not dead space. It is sacred space. It is where the new man is forged. It is where the false self dies. It is where the vibration of contradiction is burned away, not by effort, but by awareness. This is the setup. This is the arrangement of grace. The very delay you resented was the room where you were becoming. And now look, you have changed. You no longer beg. You no longer chase. You no longer search for signs, because something in you knows, something in you has settled, something in you has let go of timing and taken hold of truth. And that shift, that silent inner click, is the sign you were waiting for. What you thought was stagnation was gestation. What you called stillness was alignment. What felt like abandonment was acceleration, but in the unseen realm first. Because everything is formed twice, first in imagination, then in visibility. And the longer the formation took inside, the quicker it arrives outside once the frequency matches. You are not starting over. You are not behind. You are not off course. You are in the center of the setup. And now, the weight of all that has been stored for you is ready to fall. But hear this. The moment of arrival will not feel dramatic. It will feel natural, because when the state is fully assumed, the outer world must obey in silence. What once seemed far off becomes obvious. What once felt supernatural now feels inevitable, not because it changed, but because you did. And now that you are equal to it, it must come. It must find you. It must reveal itself. Not because of time, not because of effort, but because you are now the one who has. You think you are waiting for money. You think you are waiting for the phone call, the email, the opportunity, the person, the healing, the open door. You believe the gift is some event, some arrival in the world of matter. But hear me now. What's actually coming is you, the real you, the one who was hidden beneath strategy and survival, the one who never needed proof, only permission. The one who doesn't perform, doesn't chase, doesn't shrink. The one who commands simply by being. The gift is not what arrives in your hands. It is what awakens in your spirit. The treasure is not what gets deposited into your account. It is the vibration that no longer doubts it belongs there. The reward is not in the manifestation. The reward is in the identity that holds the manifestation without fear, without flinching, without collapse. Because what good is the blessing if you can't hold the frequency that created it? What good is the answered prayer if you secretly believe it's too good to be true? What good is the open door if you walk through it still asking for permission? What's actually coming is not just a shift in circumstance. It is a shift in self. You are receiving the version of you who is already there. The one who doesn't need the world to say yes, because he already did. The one who doesn't need the timeline to cooperate because he already moved. The one who walks like prophecy is fact, who breathes as if he has already seen the end and found it good. You are not receiving a thing. You are receiving a tone. And once that tone becomes your baseline, once it becomes unshakable, the world must follow. Not because it is being generous, but because it has no choice. This is the mystery hidden in every manifestation. You never actually receive the desire. You receive the self who has always had it. And when that self becomes dominant, reality has to obey. So look again. The gift is not in the external. The real gift is the realization that you are the miracle, that your imagination is the creative force of God, that your inner state is the origin of every external condition, that nothing has been withheld, that nothing was ever missing, that everything you were waiting for was waiting for you, to stop waiting. And now it's here, not out there, not later, not someday, but here, in this breath, in this body, in this I am. Now all that's left is to walk in it. From this moment on, the posture of your soul must change. You are no longer to walk as one who waits, begs, or wonders. That chapter is over. You are now to move, speak, and breathe as one who knows. The man who has. The man who no longer adjusts himself to the external, but causes the external to adjust to him. There must be no more if, no more when, no more negotiating with your senses for proof. You must now walk as the fulfilled man, because the fulfilled man does not look for confirmation. He is the confirmation. You no longer speak about your desire as something coming. You speak from it as something that has already arrived in the unseen and is merely catching up in form. You do not declare, "It will happen." You say, "It has happened, and I am only now witnessing its unfolding." Every word, every step, every breath must now match the vibration of that inner conviction, because the law has no eyes, no ears, no reason. It only feels. It registers your tone, and your tone is your reality. You must learn to walk through contradiction without flinching, to receive rejection without absorbing it, to watch delay without inhaling doubt, because nothing in the outer world has authority over the inner man unless you give it. So do not give it. Do not break posture. Do not betray your assumption. If the phone stays silent, praise God anyway. If the door remains closed, speak as if you've already walked through it. If the evidence says no, say yes louder, in silence, in stillness, in certainty. There will be moments when it feels ridiculous, when it seems delusional, when the people around you begin to question your sanity. Good, let them. Let their questions be your confirmation that you are no longer living at their level of cause and effect. Let their doubt prove that your reality no longer depends on consensus. It depends only on consciousness. The fulfilled man does not need to defend his state. He embodies it. He carries it like a secret the world can sense but never name. He moves with a calm that shakes rooms. He speaks with a tone that rearranges atoms. He does not chase, does not rush, does not seek approval. He assumes, and assumption is the anchor that keeps him from being moved. So from now on, you do not wait, you walk. You walk as if the thing you wanted most has already landed in your lap. You walk as if the call has already come. The money has already transferred. The hand has already touched yours. The door has already opened. And when you do, you will find that the world does not respond to effort. It responds to frequency, and frequency follows identity. So walk in your new identity. Not tomorrow. Now that you have stood through the noise, now that you have silenced the cry of doubt with the whisper of "I am," something begins to settle in you. It is not the thrill of arrival. It is not the fireworks of breakthrough. It is deeper, quieter. It is the divine calm, that holy stillness that comes not when the world has changed, but when you have. It is the vibration of a man who has burned through illusion, surrendered every question, and now rests inside his own knowing. This is the reward of the fulfilled one, not the thing, but the tone, not the outcome, but the peace of being equal to it. It is the unshakable stillness that no circumstance can stir, no timeline can rush, and no voice can interrupt, because the war is over, not in the world, but in you. You no longer chase the promise. You embody the promise. You no longer talk about manifestation. You live it quietly, masterfully, immovably. And in this calm, the outer world begins to obey in silence, without announcement, without warning. Suddenly the money comes, the phone rings, the room opens, not because you tried harder, not because you proved yourself, but because the vibration was fulfilled, because your inner world had no more need, only truth. And that truth, that invisible "I have," became your identity, and identity is the only cause. From this calm, you will see things differently. You will notice that most of the world still lives in reaction, still begs for proof, still asks God to do what He already finished in you. You will have compassion, but not confusion, Because you have been initiated. You have walked through the fire of doubt and emerged untouched. You have learned that stillness is not passivity. It is power contained. It is the throne of the one who no longer pretends to be small. So now you live from the throne. You do not plead. You do not chase. You do not explain. You simply radiate. And let the world come into alignment with what you already are. This is the final state. Not excitement, not striving, but calm. The calm of the fulfilled man. The calm of God. The calm that says, "It is done." Say nothing. Do not explain this to anyone. Do not rush to share. Let the world wonder. Let them guess what changed. Let them feel your silence and sense the shift. You do not need to announce what is already true. You only need to walk in it, speak less, assume more, react less, radiate more. Let your posture be your testimony. Let your calm be your confirmation. And when the old voice returns, as it will, do not fight it. Just smile. You are no longer the man who needs to argue with doubt. You are the man who embodies truth. So go. Begin your next act not with force, but with frequency, not with trying.